Hello, 13th jurors. I've had a few people this morning asking me if I can do a quick recap about the Letecia call this morning because it was a huge deal and it was really hard to understand. Even with the best of audio, it was hard to understand. And of course, her blabbering is always tough to follow. So I wanted to do a quick little video to do a recap on what she said and what the major moments of it were. So we start, and Letecia says that there was a car wreck that she was involved in, and she's now worried that these people are coming after her for it. She mentions the mob and the mafia and says that she has her investigators looking into it to find out more about it. You know how she is. So she said that she and Al were going on the cruise that we've heard about. This is like mid-January. She was supposed to have one itinerary, but her bag was lost. So of course, if her bag is lost, that means that she's thinking that these people who are now chasing her are on her trail and that now they may know her itinerary. So she just, instead of going on the cruise she was supposed to go on, she just jumped on a different cruise instead. Because that's how that works. So she said that she even told Al that the guy from the car wreck is following her, but she said that he basically told her nobody goes to those extremes over a car wreck. Now, when they returned home, she claimed that Gannon told her that these people came by in a black car looking for her, and so now she's scared because, once again, poor Letecia is just scared. She's the victim, and she just needs attention. So she thought that it might be Edgar, but Edgar has a Beamer. Who the heck is Edgar? So she blabbers on and on about Lena's birthday and about going to pick up Al's mom from the airport and how she was still scared during all this. So this is the newest threat to her, is the car wreck guy. Now, she says that she called 911 because she even thought that someone was in her backyard, possibly the car wreck guy. But they told her that they didn't find anybody, and even told her that she could get in trouble for making false reports to police. Little did they know about Letecia's false reports. So, fast forward to January 26th. Kobe Bryant dies, and Letecia is distraught. She plans on taking the kids to church, but there's a guy saying that he was Michael, the archangel, which she refers to as Archangel. Bless her. This woman's a teacher. So it sounds ridiculous, but I mean, apparently it's legit because he had business cards saying that he was Michael the Archangel. So, dude seems legit. Now, Michael the Archangel is apparently trying to keep them from going to church. So they go on a hike instead at the Garden of the Gods. Because you got to do something to commemorate Kobe, right? So that's what they do. Now, she mentions racism in this country, and then her flight attendant job, and then her problem, or the problems that Gannon was having with his stomach, and yada, yada, yada. So she's thinking that maybe God is trying to tell her something. So they call it an early night. Happy meals and home early. Now, back at home, the fire alarm goes off and she freaks out. We hear the same story about getting Lena and the dogs outside because, of course, like Letecia likes to tell us, she goes into protection mode. She just likes to take care of everybody. She goes back inside when she remembers that Gannon is downstairs, but we have a new little detail here now. She was wearing socks and she slipped and busted her head open and whatever on the baseboards. More stories. So, according to her, she goes back out the front door after this, and then she remembers Gannon again, so then she goes back downstairs, and then she sees him with the fire around him, and then, woohoo, Letecia saves the day. So they make it outside, it's all a blur, everyone's hysterical, and the gas tank is on E, but she drives anyway. Now, they get back to the house, and she doesn't remember how. Everything at this point to her is a blur, and she starts to come up with a plan on what to do. So that's when we hear the recording of where she's talking to Gannon, and she says that recording is misunderstood. She wasn't trying to say, oh, we're going to have to sell the couch now because of this. She was just trying to let him know everything's going to be okay. Typical Letecia. So she's planning on having one of her friends come fix the carpet. Everything's fine. She will pay him to do it, so they go to bed. At some point in the night, she believes she's hearing the garage door opening, so she goes and looks. She doesn't see anybody, but she says she keeps hearing it. Now, somehow she remembers all of a sudden being in the garage naked. And she says that's where the rape stories came from. This is why nobody can keep up with her crap. She saw that she had texted her boss about her stepdad dying, but she said that must have just been a flashback, and that's why she texted that she was in, like, flashing back to when that happened years and years before. Now, hours later, Lena comes in and asks Letecia to brush her hair. So she said now she's trying to figure out if she's in reality or in Maria's world, or if this was just a dream. She allegedly had matted blood in her hair, so she said she knew it wasn't a dream, that she knew she had fallen down the steps. And Gannon had burns on him, but she said that they were very small, so not enough for the hospital. So she grabs a phone that she keeps in the dog food. I rewound out twice because I thought there's no way I heard that. She grabs a phone, she keeps in the dog food, calls Gannon's school to tell them that he's not coming. So she flashes back in her mind to the garage stuff, and then suddenly she remembers Eduardo is in there with her, and she sees the text to her boss, who's thinking about the flashback with her stepdad. So now this is all Monday morning. She's getting ready to go shopping and do some things. She won't let Gannon stay home because obviously there's a threat to her life. The car guys are looking for her, so Gannon has to go with her. So while at Petco, he stays in the car and she goes in and she keeps seeing a black car. She's worrying that it's the people looking for her. Is it Edgar? Nope, Edgar has a Beamer. They leave and she left her phone, so she didn't have GPS. They took back roads because the interstate was backed up, and she pulled up the address and was going to talk to this guy. She said that she already had thought all this stuff in her mind too about the car wreck guy, and how she was just going to go tell him, hey, you can have whatever you want. Even though insurance said I'm not at fault, you can have money or whatever you want. Because that's how things work. So she gets lost without her GPS, and she sees a guy in the road. She thinks it's her stepfather who died while walking on the road. But of course, her stepfather's dead, so she realizes that she's just not right at the moment. So she pulls over to take a break. Now, she doesn't know how long she was pulled over to take a break, but she said that she kind of comes to when Gannon is tapping her and saying, hey, we got to go get Lena. So now we hear yet another story. This one is about kids that were bullying Lena, and she was going to go talk to the kids or their mom or some nonsense. Anyway, they get home, and she goes over the whole alarm motion detector story, all that crap. She goes upstairs to work out, and then we get to the point where Gannon is missing. Now, new story alert. She says that Gannon was there the whole time when police came and searched, and she looked at the body cam, and she said she saw him on the body cam. You can see him where the Christmas ornaments are. She saw him hiding. And, these officers are trained to come in here and look for them. And she just can't believe they didn't even see him. And if they had, then things would have turned out different. Yeah, she really went there. So, sometime after midnight, there's a knock on her bedroom window. She said that she looks out. She doesn't see anyone. She drove around thinking maybe it was Gannon. So Edgar, apparently, is on his way now back over, but he didn't want to be there when the police were there because he didn't want any problems. So now Edgar and his family member, Angelica, are now apparently there, and Letecia is worried because she's thinking that someone is in the house. She doesn't have her gun, but Edgar has one. So they go check out this noise to see who could be in the house. She sees someone with a cape wrapped around him. So she goes to grab Edgar's gun from his hand. Now at this point, she said that she's thinking in her head about Michael the Archangel, and she's thinking about the thing with her stepdad, and she's thinking about whatever else it is that goes on in her creative little messed up brain. And she said that she just went into protection mode. She said she grabbed the gun. Somehow it hit her in the head, and then she admits that the guy in the cape she goes to shoot was Gannon. She's admitting to it, finally. But in true Letecia form, she's only giving parts of the story. So now she's saying this guy in the cape, basically it's self-defense because she's thinking that he's there to hurt her. So apparently that's her newest version of the story at this point. Now, this woman claims that she had Lena, Gannon's very young little sister, help her carry Gannon's body upstairs to the car while he's still alive. And she said, quote, barely talking. Now, she said that she put him in the car and drives him around with him as she listens to him take his last breath. She said that the noise that he made, which we've all heard, that death rumble is what, a lot of people refer to it as. She said that it was that same noise that her grandfather made when he passed away. She is literally saying that she drove around with his body in the car while he took his last breath. So she goes back. She claims that she's throwing up while she's doing all this, and she's panicked now because she knows it's Gannon. She says she gets back and she sees Harley and Lena, who look like they just saw a ghost. She claims that she doesn't really know what's going on at this point, that everything that happened during the search for Gannon is a blur. When, she's talking to people saying that, oh, we're going to find him. She said that she doesn't really remember that. All of that's a blur. She said that when it comes to driving him across country, she said it's because Gannon's grandparents have a farm in South Carolina. So she was just trying to get him there for a proper burial, or, if they don't know what to do, then maybe they could help bring him back to life. She said that she had to do it this way. She couldn't tell Al, because if she had told Al, then if he would have been involved in Colorado, then Al wouldn't have allowed for his mom to have anything to do with it in South Carolina. So once again, Letecia's just looking out for what's best for everybody. She blabbers on about some other crap about how there were no stab wounds. She said that those were just the little spots from the burns. And she said that there's a male person who helped her that she won't name. She said that she doesn't even like driving. She prefers to fly. So that itself tells you how much she was out of her mind since she drove across the country. Now, out of everything, she is saying that the way that we know she's crazy is because she drove when she doesn't like driving. That's her moment to prove to us that she's crazy. Oh, this woman. So there's some mention of, Ecclesiastes, I think she was calling it Ecclesiastes 33 in her head, a time to kill. Seeing red and black, seeing her stepdad, Maria feeling a threat because of what was going on. Basically, a bunch of yada, yada, yada. But what it comes down to is she freaking did it.